Fueled by C4, Cellucor, and Extend. Use the code Clydesdale to get 20% off at checkout at c4energy.com. On Clydesdale Media, where we bring you the widest array of content here on our YouTube channel. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Hit that notifier so you're first to know when new episodes are available. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Clydesdale Media Podcast, where we are highlighting all the athletes from the 2023 CrossFit Games Semifinals. And with us right now is Shelby Neal. Shelby, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. And so I'm so excited to have you on. We were talking before we went live. I feel like I know you, and I thought I interviewed you before, and I looked it up, and I hadn't. So I don't know. I must have dreamed it last season. So now we're making it a reality.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. This is more professional than I was expecting. I didn't prepare anything, so here we go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're very laid back, really. Don't let this stuff feel like it's anything more than just us hanging out.
Sounds good.
Yeah, we all talked. We've all worked out today, and none of us have had time to even hit the showers.
No.
But we're all in our houses alone, so nobody cares.
Yep, it's true.
Exactly.
And Shelby looks better than any of us, so we're good to go.
No, just a quick braid 2 seconds before this call.
So I want to talk about where you live, which is Asheville, North Carolina.
Raleigh, North Carolina.
Raleigh.
Yeah,
Raleigh.
I wish.
Oh,
Asheville's what we're going to ask.
Cat. Okay. So Raleigh, you went to North Carolina State University?
Yes, yeah. Just graduated in May last year.
And you're super smart.
No. Also wrong.
Well, all the research.
Wait. What is your degree in?
My degree was in chemical engineering, but I work now in like a biomed engineering company. So
Maybe you were wrong, because you can't do that without being smart.
I'm just pretending every day.
Okay. Well, all the engineers I know are pretty dang smart.
Thanks, Scott.
So what made you go into, so you went into chemical engineering, but now you're more like biomechanical, biochemical.
More biomedical, I would say. So it's like a mixture of like mechanical and biomedical. So I kind of left the chemical side of my degree behind for this job because like my research that I was doing was a little bit more focused on that. It was more like medical devices and how we can use 3D printing to customize that for patients. And so that's the research that I did. I did it more on it was more on the veterinary side, but that transfers over exactly the same to the human side. So that's what I'm doing now. It's a medical device company. It's like more for human anatomy purposes. So
a couple follow-ups. You started on the veterinarian side. Are you an animal lover?
I do like animals. Yeah, most animals.
Do you have any pets?
I have, so my parents live in Wake Forest, which is 30 minutes from here. And Raleigh is like 30 minutes from Wake Forest. So college, home was really close by. So my dogs, we had 3 Australian Shepherds. And we used to have Rottweilers growing up. So yeah, lots of dogs in my family. Lazy dogs.
And any plans to get dogs now?
I live by myself. So, I live with my boyfriend. So probably not till we get a house, I think I might get a cat before I get something I have to actually take care of very well.
So how do you go from a dog person to a cat person?
I don't know. Just a cat that just, can just bring me animals and lives outside. That sounds fun. It just, I don't know, something I don't have to actually take care of is what I need.
They're a little more self-sufficient. Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly.
My college roommate had a cat, and the cat would go out and get presents for us and bring them in, but would not kill the presents So
nice.
they would bring them into the apartment and then let them loose.
Perfect.
Oh.
So we would have chipmunks and squirrels running through our apartment because the cat brought us these gifts and
Yeah.
let them roam free.
Yeah. I think that's what I like about cats. Like, that just sounds exciting to me, maybe. But until it happens, then I'll change my mind. But I have been seeing like pet raccoons too. That gets my attention. I just don't know where to get a raccoon.
Yeah.
No in hell would
I know somebody that has a pet raccoon, but yeah, I want to know, like, how do you domesticate them to live in your home? Like,
Yeah.
They're mean.
Yeah.
cute.
I'm just waiting to find one like on the, on the side of the road and be like, this finally, it's mine. You're
Wow.
mine. Baby raccoon. I'll domesticate it.
Oh my goodness. Well, this has started off in a great direction because the less we talk about CrossFit, the more fun I have. So it also says you were like with the Marine officer candidates.
Yeah, so that was last year. I was doing that for a while, like my whole college career. Went to OCS, finished it last summer, and kind of had plans on doing that, but changed my kind of life trajectory a little bit. Just some life things happened, and I just realized that wasn't the track I wanted to go on. So now I'm going through the disenrollment process of that program, focusing on my career, in the medical device industry and then CrossFit as well. So it was kind of a mixture of both of those things, like realigning of my passions and what I really enjoyed. So yeah.
You're the second person that has disenrolled from that we've talked to in the last like 5 days.
Yeah. Then you get it.
Yeah. Crazy. So, so let's get into a little bit of the CrossFit. You've been around for a while. You were a teen athlete starting.
Yes.
And you went to the games in 2016 and 2017 in the 16 and 17-year-old division.
Yes.
But here's what I'm curious about. How did you find CrossFit? Like, how did you get into CrossFit?
Yeah. So I used to do gymnastics, also like in the Raleigh area. And my coach did CrossFit, and she would come like to our practices, super sore all the time. And she was telling us about, I did this workout with 100 pull-ups, 100, it was probably Murph is what she was talking about.
Yeah.
But she was talking about how many pull-ups they were doing. And, in gymnastics, the pull-up is always strict. So in my eyes, I'm like, what is she doing? Like, whatever she's doing, it's even more intense than what we're doing, which I thought what we were doing was pretty intense, gymnastics wise. So I immediately turned over to CrossFit when I was kind of fizzling out of gymnastics. And one day I was in gymnastics, next day I went to CrossFit, and I was like, I'm never going back. It was just the right time, right transition. Right around 14 years old is when I switched over. So January 2014, actually, I know.
Wow.
And at what point did you realize you could be competitive?
So I went to my first competition was Festivus Games, like that really beginner level competition. And I can still remember that feeling I had when I did that. That first, I think I was in a shot of getting podium, and it was really exciting. But I think the last event, I knew that I had to win it to get first. And I ended up doing that. And I remember being on the podium and that spark kind of igniting. And then I learned about the teen division. And I think the very first year I did the open was the same year I started. So January 2014, I started. And then I did the open that same year. And I knew exactly where I was, on the leaderboard. I didn't qualify for the games that year, but I knew exactly kind of where I needed to be. And I had all those girls' Instagram accounts and was just kind of, what do I need to do to be at their level to make that happen? So yeah, forgot the question, but.
So I'm 12 years into CrossFit and I'm still doing Festivus Games.
Yeah.
Just so you know. So some of us never get above that threshold.
Yeah.
So you win the Festivus Games. So the question was, when did you know you could be competitive? So I'm assuming the win was telling you could be.
Yeah, because I had given up, I had given up competitive atmosphere because in gymnastics I had such a high anxiety level when I competed. Like just being, I remember, just like on the beam, I felt like I was just sweating, through my feet. I couldn't even, balance on the beam just because I'm like, I feel like I'm just going to slip right off. I always felt like I was going to, the worst was going to happen. I was going to like land on my neck or something. I was very high anxiety by the end and I lost a lot of skills by the end. And so I just didn't think I was going to compete again. And then in CrossFit, all those worries I had in gymnastics just didn't resonate as well. Like I still have the like high stress, but I wasn't afraid of like falling on my neck and like disappointing everyone. It was just not as like, it couldn't just go all wrong in a split second, just like gymnastics could. So really, like, I think it was probably 2016 was when like I really made that push to make it to the games. That was the first year. Yeah. So the year before, like that 2015 to 2016 was when I was really pushing the CrossFit. And the years before that, I was like big in Olympic lifting as well. So that was where I got the strength to push the CrossFit as well.
Yeah. So Scott's on mute. So because he's on mute, I will. He does this every show, just so you know. Every show.
At least once.
Yep.
Good.
Well, what I was going to ask is, you went to the games in 2 different locations. So you're one of the few people that got to experience Carson and Wisconsin.
Yeah, that's true.
Which one did you like better?
I mean, given how to say Carson, definitely. You just miss Carson, I guess. It's just nostalgic, Yeah.
I can totally see that, especially
and the weather.
Yeah. It's hot. Yeah, I enjoyed that too. But I think Madison has its own nostalgia too. If it were to move, people would miss Madison the same way people miss Carson. So
did you get to compete in the tennis stadium?
I think so. That's not a good question for me. I'm not going to be able to remember.
Yeah, I just
the big one, right?
The biggest difference for me is, right, the smaller venue was the tennis stadium. Mm-hmm. And then they had the big soccer stadium for like outdoor events. But in Wisconsin, you have that outdoor feel with North Park, but the Coliseum's different because it has a roof. Mm-hmm. Right. And I just was curious what the difference was in this open air tennis stadium in Carson and then the enclosed roof in Madison.
Yeah, I think the Carson one, it felt like kind of empty, I'd say. Like it wasn't fully filled out, whereas the Madison one seems almost too small. Like it's packed.
Yeah.
It's almost like we need something in the middle. But I mean, I haven't been to the games in a couple of years, so I'm not really like the person to ask about this.
Yeah, I was there in 2017 as a volunteer, and the state outdoor stadium was barely built up. They just had like seats on each side, and that would have been your last year. Now that outdoor stadium is all surrounded.
Okay, yeah.
And it's much higher than it was in 2017. So they can probably get 3 times the crowd in that stadium than they could in 2017.
Yeah. And like the age group, I remember the age group in Carson was more similar to the individuals areas. Like we were competing in the same areas as the indies, which was kind of cool. But then at Madison, it was like our own separate area, which was kind of like just not as gamesy. It didn't feel as much like the games like it did a regional level. I didn't realize it, but it did feel like just like it was set up like a regional. So we were always in
they got rid of that
stuff. Oh, they did. That's good.
Yeah. The teens in the age groups compete on the same 2 fields now, and they got rid of what I think they called it the horse barn, where you guys were at in 2017.
Out back, something like that. Like
yeah. Yeah, it was rough.
So you brought up regionals, and so because you've been around and in the sport for a while, what do you think about the new setup now? So you've kind of been around and seen the regional aspect, and now we've got the quarterfinals, the semis. What's your thoughts on those?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like a little disappointing that it's changing so much. Like I'm not really partial to any format, except when it's changing, it's hard for the sport to feel like so serious, or clear to, spectators and my friends and family who are interested in keeping up, and it's just impossible to explain when it changes every 2 years. But I mean, the format now I think is really similar to regionals, which I like. So yeah.
Yeah. The only thing I think it lacks is in the regional days, they were much smaller. So like gym communities could travel to each regional.
Yeah.
Where now you don't have that as two major. What they've done right is they're both in touristy areas. So they're destination places this year, where in the past, like I was in the Central East or the Central. So we would be in Nashville and all the gyms could travel because it was a 6-hour drive at most.
Yeah.
And then you you were in the Atlantic, right?
Yeah.
And so generally I think they were in Georgia, or
I think ours was in Orlando actually. So it was kind of far.
Okay.
I think it was far that one year I went, but MACC last year was in Knoxville, which was really convenient. I know what you mean. If it is close.
Yeah.
We had people from our gym decide last minute to just drive over. So that was fun. Yeah. And my coach actually, like, on Friday left. She had a little emergency, like a family emergency. So she drove to Knoxville with me, dropped me off, left, and came back on Saturday. So Friday I didn't even have my normal coach, which was interesting, but we made it work. It was a great day actually, but
yeah, you actually did really well at MACC last year. And being a teen games athlete, I'm sure there were some expectations on you coming into the adult division. What is that transition like, going from the teen division to the open division?
It's difficult. I think it's more difficult than people realize. I think they see the ones that have made it, the biggest names right now who've made it, and assume it's easy peasy for everybody. But I think it's almost more challenging when you have those expectations on yourself to do well. And you can see, big names like Haley Adams, who went from winning to going right to the game space indie. And you kind of have that oh, that should be happening to me this year or next year or the following year. And then, 4 or 5 years go on and you're still not there. So it can be really mentally difficult to get over that barrier and accept that you're finally, this is where I'm competing and this is my level and this is where I'm supposed to be.
Barbell Spin posted a story today, and if you want to know the accurate details, please go read the story. But I think they said 1/5 of all teen athletes are still competing. The other 4/5 are no longer in CrossFit.
They're not even doing the open. That was right.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so what does that mean to you that you're one of the survivors that have made the transition at all?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't really care what everyone else does, I guess. If they don't want to do CrossFit, it's fine. But I mean, for me, I was happy. I'm happy that I focus on longevity. That's the biggest thing for me. Was how do I stay in the sport a long time and make this a career versus making it to the games, last 2 years ago and then not making it any year after that, or just burning out, fizzling out. It's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to be in the space for a while when I do make it. And I think, this year was going to be the time that I make the push. So
talk to us about the last chance qualifier last year.
The one that I didn't do?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, so yeah, that sucks. But I did, so I qualified for the last chance because it was 6th, 7th, and 8th qualified, I think, from my competition, MACC. And I was 7th, so I made it. But I didn't compete in it because I was at OCS. So I had to kind of make a decision.
Got it. Okay.
And I couldn't do both because I was literally just in a barracks.
Yeah.
So had no phone, had nothing.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
So I want to ask you this question about the MACC. stacked semifinal. You come in and you get 7th. The outside world probably didn't have that expectation for you. Did you have that expectation for yourself?
I think kind yes and no, I would say. I was aiming for like top 10 was like my minimum expectation, but I did want to qualify. I thought I could qualify. I thought I had a good chance with like the field that we had. I thought there was going to be from my perspective, there was going to be a rookie or two that was going to make it from my semifinal. And so I thought, that could be me. And that was what I was trying to keep in mind the whole time, is like, it can be you, it can be you. And I think it takes a lot of convincing to like finally convince yourself that that's the reality, is that you deserve it and you're one of them. But yeah, I forgot the question already.
Did you surprise yourself last year? And I'm going to expand the question a little bit.
Okay.
Right. So 4th place was Brooke Wells. Brooke Wells scored 443 points. 4th place. You in 7th place scored 433 points. You were only 10 points out of 4th place. Not even 5th, like 4th.
Yeah.
And so, and there was you in 7th, Kelly Clark in 6th, Rebecca Fuselier in 5th. So 3 rookies within 9 points of going to the games. So you were correct.
Yeah.
Like you called it. Did you expect to be that close knocking on the door?
No, I didn't. And that's the biggest thing, like going into this season, is just keeping that exact, that exact fact in mind, is that like I was that close. I was one workout away. I think when you look at like my placings last year, I got like top 5 on every event except for one. And it was just one. It wasn't even one workout. It was one movement, one single movement that I have a giant hole in, that I've been doing every day, literally every day. And I hate it so much, but I do it every day to work on it. So yeah, I mean, I think just going into the semifinal, I'll just be overly like more confident than I've probably ever been, that I'll be qualifying for the games. Like my expectation this year is to qualify. So yeah.
So before we move to the next section, Gigi Strong says, OCS, so much respect. I remember military days.
I see that, yeah.
So
didn't realize this was live.
So when we,
Oh yeah.
Crap.
Yep, we're live. It's fine. And so I look at your finishes. Barbell Complex 5th, Midline Sadness 3rd, MACC Mile 5th, Hardcore Parkour 4th, Turbo Tunnel 5th. And that is a very wide variety of disciplines in those 5. So Barbell Complex, heavy. Midline Sadness, all core. MACC Mile, a lot of engine. Like, you are proving that you have all of these elements. You just don't have legless rope climbs.
I do now, but
them every day.
Yeah, come on, Scott. What are you doing?
Well, I'm looking at the snapshot of last year. In that moment, right? That was the one thing that got you.
Yeah.
And so you said you've been working on it every day. So has it gotten to a point where it's more of a strength, or are you still thinking you got more work to do?
I think I do have more work to do, definitely, because it was such a big hole for me. But the leap that I've made has been like astronomical. I wouldn't say it's going to be a top 5 finish, like all those other events. It really depends on the workout, I guess. Like that one workout had 10 of them in a row. There was nowhere to hide. So it was kind of unfortunate. I think even if I had, I think the day that I did that, I could have done a little bit better for where my fitness was at, but I had a no rep or 2 or 3 that really prevented me from finishing the workout. But even if I had done my absolute best, it still would have only been, 28th, 25th to 30th would be like my absolute best. So I'm trying to get that, like, where my average of where I would have been, where I should be on that movement up. But it also depends on like if there's only 2 or 3 in a row, you know, I can bust through that. If it's 10 in a row, that's a different thing, I'd say. For me, I have to attack that a little bit differently and still be aware that it's going to be like something I need to be watchful of, that movement. Not 100%
and not
to compete with it. So
not to beat a dead horse, but 28th is a game spot.
exactly. Tell me about it, Scott. Keeps me up at night.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
But you've closed that hole up, right? And so this year you're going into Orlando with much more confidence, and you know you have the other well-rounded stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean,
so,
there's a lot of things that I've also been working on. Like, I think there's a lot of things mentally that I'm not like as confident in. Even if like on game day I do show up and do pretty good, I think there are some potential holes. So I've been filling those. Like, I tend to be pretty good at like technical lifts, snatch, clean and jerk, Olympic lifting, but more like raw power stuff I've been working on, like awkward kettlebell, awkward dumbbell, sled pushes, like the stuff that I'm not naturally that great at. I've been
sandbag,
crushing those in training and like almost loving that more than my usual like gymnastics, Olympic lifting stuff that I tend to do better at. So I'm excited to see that.
So before we move on to what you've done this season,
right.
On this podcast, you seem very buttoned up, right? You're very who you are. And I want to share a video that shows when you come out of your shell, you can be a lot of fun.
No.
And so I want you to explain what happens to make you want to do this.
Okay.
Yeah, it's from you posted it.
How deep are you digging?
Whoop. Here we go. So you're cleaning some weight here. And then at the very end, you make sure that everybody knows that there it is. You do the Bronislav.
Flamingo.
So what happened in that moment that made you want to do that flamingo move?
I don't know. I don't even remember.
Are things like that common?
I think, I just get in like a really good mood all of a sudden, and I just want to like show off.
Be silly. Yeah.
The endorphins are flowing.
Yeah, I think because I don't know. When you just hit heavy weight and it feels so good. I remember hitting this. I hadn't hit 225. This was 225. I'm pretty sure. I hadn't hit it in like weeks and weeks and weeks. And then like the next week on the cycle, I hit 245, which was like a PR. So that's just how good it was feeling, I guess.
And then you have one of your competitors down here. One day I will be flamingo like you, able to flamingo like you. And that's from Rebecca Fuselier.
Yeah. Queen. We kind of like, because we're both, we're teen athletes. I feel like we have that same like link, at least connection there. So we always like support each other through Instagram.
Are you guys around the same age?
We should be like the exact same because we were in the same division, I think 2 years in a row. So we were in 16, 17, both years together.
Yeah. That's cool that's what I love about the sport is that you can be competitors, but yet still like be supporting each other and be happy for each other because it's still exciting for somebody to do well and to celebrate that too.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was so exciting to like see her qualify. I mean, to be there in the moment when she made it for the first time and like definitely relive that moment for her and like hopefully for me in the future.
Yeah.
I want that so bad.
So Gigi Strong says, I can't get it to come over. There we go. That's swag. You go, lady.
Thanks, Gigi.
Do you know who that is?
No.
No? Wow. Yeah. Cool.
I do now.
So now you've got 5 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks till Orlando.
Maybe. I think it's 4. No, yeah, 4 or 5. Yeah.
Yeah. We're in that 4 or 5-ish range. What do the next 4 weeks look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, so I work full time, so I'm just kind of on the normal 8 to 4, 9 to 5 grind, and then I train afternoons till pretty late. Like I'll leave the gym most nights at like 8 p.m. ish. Sometimes maybe later. It depends. Like between 7:30 to 8:30, I'm leaving the gym. Come home, eat, and then rinse, repeat for
Right.
the for the whole week. And the weeks just fly by. Like I was looking through my programming Excel sheet, and I was surprised to see that we had already done 4 weeks of training. It just didn't feel like it had gone that fast. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely going by fast. Like we only have 4 weeks left of training, which is really scary to think that's all that's left. Like I only have 20 more days of actual training left before we're on the stage. So
So
Well,
what do you
you
do?
have the time between then and the games.
that's
to
true.
train.
Yeah. I'm preparing. That's definitely how I'm talking these days. Everyone's like, "You're
Good.
really confident this year." I'm like, "Yeah, it's gonna happen this year."
So what do you do for recovery between, your rinse repeat cycles here?
Yeah, I need to sleep more. I don't sleep enough, so mostly sleeping. I have like those. My coach gave me her like Normatec pants, so I've been doing that. I stretch a ton. Sometimes I play pickleball and like play yoga and stuff. Extra stretching, rolling. I do all that and theragunning. And then I also take like tons of creatine. I think that's great for my recovery. And then like turmeric, and I really nail vitamins when I'm like training for a competition, specifically like fish oil, magnesium, stuff like that. That just like makes your body feel so much better the next morning.
Yeah.
Do you ever try the hot, cold, hot?
Oh yeah, I do that too.
So you do the
Like,
cold tub?
My boyfriend's really big into that. So I get dragged into that. I don't ever initiate it, but if everyone else is doing it, I'm gonna do it, obviously.
Yeah. Obviously.
We did
Do you see a benefit from it?
um I think in my mood for sure. I don't know, like my body, I think my body
Yeah.
needs like stretching more than anything after training like I train. But it doesn't hurt, it definitely makes your body feel better. I think it's like good for energy too.
Yeah.
I
And
don't know
then
this.
now there's this debate over, is it colder for shorter or a little
Hmm.
bit warmer for longer?
Hmm. Well, so
Which way do you go?
whenever I do it with Frank, my boyfriend, he's always doing like cold. It's like more of like a cold mental training. So it's not like for our body recovery. It's more like how long can we stay in this cold water and then get out and stand in the cold wind. How long can we handle it? I'm like, sure, let's do it. It's never like, and then we'll go in the hot tub. But it's not like we're doing this for our body. It's more like a mental training, like fun thing with the boys all like laughing and trying to have fun.
Frank, you got a
Frank.
games athlete here. You gotta get her body recovered, not just her mind.
He massages my calves. He gets all the knots out.
There you
Okay.
go.
All right.
Yeah.
There we go.
He's my masseuse.
Yeah.
Chelsea Miller says, colder, shorter, get it done.
Get her done.
Yeah, because like the first 2 minutes is the worst part, and then you just kind of you're good. You're Gucci the next 3 to 10 minutes. Doesn't matter how long it is.
Yeah.
All right. So you go to Orlando, you finish top 10. So you're solidly going to the games.
Mhm.
And what
Top
is the
11.
celebration on Sunday night?
Sunday night of semis of MACC?
Yeah. Of Orlando.
Like, what are you going to eat?
no.
What are you going to do?
Sorry, MACC's not.
Yeah, we're past MACC.
Yeah, we're
Oh.
past MACC. I definitely want to. Then that night, I'll probably just like eat tons of food because I tend not to eat when I'm in competition very much. I struggle to get food in because I'm like so anxious and
Yeah.
I just barf everything up. So it's just like I don't want to eat anything. But I'll probably get like pad thai, some like Thai food, some pad see ew, some sushi.
There you go.
And then I think we're planning on like hanging around for Monday, Tuesday, like going to Disney or something.
Oh, good. That's
Go
awesome.
snorkeling. Yeah. And then I'd probably the weekend after I'll like do a little backpacking trip before get that in my system so I can train for the games every weekend after that.
So that's what I'm curious about. You like to be outside and like to do a lot of traveling.
Yeah, definitely.
And recently, where did you just go? To Mexico?
Yeah, I was in Mexico. I was in Portugal most recently. Like overseas traveling at least.
Yeah.
That was Hawaii. Different.
Yeah. And you did spear fishing? Your first time fishing was spear fishing?
Yeah. I never been fishing before, but I have been spear fishing. Which it was the coolest thing I've ever done.
Really?
Yeah. It was just beautiful. And you go in the water, and it was cool because I had somebody with me, and he spear fishes, and he was instructing me kind of like how do we do this? Yeah.
That's awesome.
It was called a nai, and we like filleted it and just ate it raw right after catching it. There it is. Yeah.
And that is the speared fish?
Yeah.
Oh.
This is just me swimming around.
Okay.
That was me, actually. It was a little bit of a cloudy day, so the water was. So if you like went underwater and looked down, you couldn't see the bottom. So he was like, "We need to go down deeper than what you can see, and like grab a rock. The waves pulling you around, and you need to just like relax, and so the fish come back to you, so you can shoot them." Sounds bad, but
no, but
it's really hard because you have to actually fight the urge to want to breathe and like relax, and it was really cool. It took me back to I did like a survival swimming class when I was in college, and it was like the same kind of core principles of just stay like slow and relax with good technique, just stay calm in the water, just do your thing.
Do you have any bucket list travel like places that you want to go to that you haven't yet?
I think I have too many to even hit before I die. Probably like Thailand's on the list. Definitely, really like anywhere beautiful outdoors. Definitely like Oregon, California area. Like I want to hit like all of the West Coast. I think that'd be like a really easy trip to do pretty soon. This year maybe after the season.
Yeah.
So is this your home gym?
Yes. Yeah. There's Molly.
That's beautiful.
And that's what you get in at night working out?
Yeah. That's just a normal day.
That's so beautiful.
Normal day in Raleigh.
So we had a question of, do you train out of a camp or on your own?
Yeah, I train on my own at 12 State CrossFit. It's a gym local to Raleigh. My coach is the head coach at 12 State CrossFit. Her name is Witney Gelin. She went to the games.
Oh yeah.
3 years. 3?
Yeah.
2, 3? Yeah. I think 3.
Well,
I think
that's bearing the lead.
Yeah. So she writes program for me specifically, but I follow the gym's program and she'll tweak it for me. So like Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, I do class workouts. So I'm never working out alone. And then she'll basically change the workout for me a little bit. So like the workout will be handstand push-ups. I'll do like deficit handstand push-ups, wall facing handstand push-ups, or parallel handstand push-ups. It'll be changed like to be more semifinal-esque or higher skill for me. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm doing like my own thing completely. And I have a lot of friends that jump in with me. So it's really rare that I work out alone. Like out of the whole week, I maybe do like 2 pieces by myself completely that are Metcons.
So Witney is maybe one of the most underrated great CrossFit athletes we've ever seen.
Yeah, tell me about it. I agree.
So what's it like? How long have you been with her, and what's it like getting her tutelage?
Yeah, so I moved to 12 State in 2018, and that was the year I made it to regionals, but she was also competing still. So she was doing the individual. She went to the games 2018. The first year I went to regionals, and I got to, be there and watch her qualify. But so she wasn't coaching me then. She was head coach at the gym, but she was like also like kind of more part-time and training. So not really focusing on coaching. But then when she stopped doing indie, she was willing to kind of like mentor me and provide coaching for me specifically. So we've trained together since before 2018. But now we're less on like a competitor standpoint and more on like a coach athlete level with each other. We used to be like competitors kind of like I was like trying to compete
with her.
Like, yeah, you're nothing. You're not worried about you. And I'm like racing to get to her level.
And so did you go to 12 state because of that, or was it just by chance that the two of you hooked up when you went there?
Definitely not chance.
Okay.
Yeah, it's close to 12. It's close to NC State. So when I was in high school, I went to an early college program, and I went to high school at NC State. And when Frank moved to NC State, I was like, well, I might as well kind of go with him. And this is also a really great gym. They've got really great athletes. Like I'm out of the teen division this year. This is a great year to like change it up and get that like be with somebody who's way fitter than me and get pushed. So that's what I would do. I was like go to classes from like 8:30 to 12 every day. And then I would work out with her from like 1 to 5. I remember that first when I had like less schoolwork the freshman year, but.
And Frank and you have been together since high school?
Yeah, we'll be on like year 7 in a couple months. So
whoa.
I'm only 22. It's a long time for me.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that's just a long time in general.
Yeah, like we're unburying all the leads here at the end of the podcast.
Right.
Yeah, that's awesome that like high school sweethearts and still together. And does he CrossFit?
He does, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say, if not.
He's more into like the running, swimming lately, which is also like great for me because it's not my favorite thing to do. So he's always like wants me to do it with him, or I can always get him to do it with me when I need someone to jump in with me.
Yeah. Well, Shelby, this has been an awesome podcast. We uncovered all the good stuff at the end. But I wanted a couple of people are touting Raleigh and Kenneth is like, Raleigh is totally underrated.
Agreed.
And GG Strong I used to go to basketball camp in North Carolina every summer. Love it there.
It's nice.
And a lot of my wife's family live in North Carolina. So we're there in the Charlotte area a lot. I know that's a little bit different. But yeah, North Carolina is awesome.
Yeah. It's very diverse. Like you get the mountains, the beach, the Outer Banks. Raleigh's a nice city, small. It's nice.
So,
yeah, the whole state has everything.
Yeah.
So do you have any good, Kat wants us to ask you this. Do you have any good hiking recommendations for Asheville?
Oh gosh, I can send you. I'm like opening my phone to get you a good list.
You can tell us off the air. That was something she was like, ask her about Asheville because she's going there.
So like obviously Mount Mitchell and Grandfather Mountain are like easy day hikes. If you're into like a longer backpacking trip, I just went to what was it called? I just went to Linville Gorge. That's what I went to. That was really beautiful. And that's like, you could be out there for 5 days if you wanted to like take it really slow. I took it pretty slow, and it was 3 days. But you could do it in 1 day if you wanted to. Some people are intense like that, but I was just taking it easy, just chill. But yeah.
So when you need to just reset and bring peace to your mind, is that hiking for you?
Yeah, I've like definitely fell in love with backpacking recently, and I don't do it as much as like I'd wish I could, just because with training, you can't really just put everything aside. But it is really nice, and it's really a good way to explore and see what there is. I love waterfalls and I love beautiful lookouts, and for some reason, just like camping in the woods has become enjoyable, which I never thought it would when I was younger.
Yeah, I know. It's funny how we evolve and change our minds about things.
Yeah. Yep. I set up camp like literally right on a cliff a couple weekends ago. Like I come out of my tent and like 5-second walk is just a cliff, mountains, and overlook and the sun rays coming through the clouds. It was just awesome.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. I'm going to respect your time and let you go this evening, but we are definitely going to have you back as now we're learning more and more about you. You need to be our travel aficionado.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
All the cool places you've been.
We can set up a backpack
and things to do.
Yeah.
Yay.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Shelby, and everybody in the chat. Thank you so much for chiming in and being a part of our show. You guys make it awesome. And so with that, we'll see everybody next time on the Clydesdale Media Podcast.